Hello everyone and welcome to Zandvoort. Welcome to episode 2 of my rFactor 2 Road to Gold series. In this series, I try to climb the ranks of safety ranking on rFactor 2 Online to try and reach gold, which gives me access to the full range of series which are offered in rFactor 2 Online. To reach gold, I need to keep my driving standards as high as possible in terms of cleanliness, which means that I need to maximize my racecraft while trying to continue increasing my driver rank as well. My only rule for this series? Well, every race needs to be either streamed or recorded. There will be no farming of rating off camera. You get to see everything that I go through in this journey. In other words, every single race counts. Today we're at Zandvoort for a Formula 4 race. I absolutely love this car. We did a bit of practice. We ended up qualifying in P11 out of 20 cars on the grid. It's gonna be challenging, but I am super excited for this race. Let's get on track and let's see what we can do. As always, if you enjoy, please consider liking and subscribing. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Oh, and please note that actually my microphone stopped working at the beginning of this recording, so there's no live commentary. This is going to be post-race commentary, which is not what I usually do, but I still hope that you enjoy. Alright, enough, let's get on track. And alright everyone, we're on track. We're going to be starting this race in P11. There's a total of 20 cars in this race, and while our goal is to try and dig into the top 10 as much as possible, but for us, in this early phase of our career in rFactor 2 Online, the most important thing is to gain safety rating in order to make it to gold. So we're gonna want to try and keep things as safe as possible. Time to launch the car. We actually get a pretty good launch of the line. As you can see, we immediately overtake Bergvin on our right. At this point, I should have actually moved on to the right and closed the space, but I didn't. I stayed on the outside because I wasn't sure if I was gonna get dive bombed or not. I just wanted to keep it safe. Plus, there's quite a lot of grip on the outside here anyway. In fact, as you can see, I carry more speed than Bergvin. I go quite deep this corner, but it actually works in my favor because two cars are out of the track and the one that stops was on the outside. Bergvin actually managed to overtake us and Thorpe ahead because we both had to slow down quite a bit, and now Lopez is sticking his nose in as well, so I actually shut the door here on the right and I get in line with Thorpe ahead, trying to keep it nice and tight here through this right-hander. And well, pretty good start so far. Despite the fact that we lost that position, we did gain too. So here I closed the door once again because I saw that Ricardo Lopez was starting to get a little bit hot and starting to look into every gap that I was leaving open, just like in this corner right here. As you can see, he's trying to pull alongside again. I'm a little bit wide in all these corners, but I'm still managing to carry more speed, so I managed to keep him behind. And yeah, heavy braking zone here. We lock up a little bit, but we managed to keep the door shut. So far so good in this first lap, guys. I think we're currently in P10, that means we gained one position. So pretty happy with this start overall. Let's check out that early incident at the banked hairpin. So it was actually Gonzalez unfortunately losing control of his car under braking coming into the hairpin. And Roguez coming up from behind unfortunately is unable to avoid him. Aside from this, it was a clean first lap from every other driver. And alright, let's rejoin the live action in lap 2. As you can see, Lopez behind was still harassing me. He's got draft. At this point, he's gonna try and overtake me on the outside. I understeer a little bit, but I managed to point the nose back inside in the last moment. I managed to defend my position here, but I know that Lopez is very quick and he's gonna keep trying. I stay on the outside here because I know that you can carry more speed if you stay up higher in that ball, and in fact, as you can see, I managed to carry way more speed than Lopez there. I'm defending very hard here, guys, but in the cockpit I was getting a little bit nervous because I started fearing that he might take me out because he was very aggressive. But at the same time, I didn't just want to, yield and give him the position. He seemed to be quite skillful, so I thought to myself, if I just defend in a predictable way, I don't think he's gonna take me out. So we kept trying to do that. I locked up and understeered in this corner. I was looking in my mirrors a lot, which also meant that I was not really hitting all my markers looking ahead. Beginning of the third lap, and as you can see, there is a raging battle right ahead of us. There's multiple cars battling for P4 and P3, I believe. So we want to try and get as close as possible to all that action ahead. And as you can see, two drivers collide and they both end up off track. So we managed to pick up both positions, and that's exactly what I wanted, staying in range so that, especially when those battles happen, so that we can try and pick up positions, and there was a lot of buffer between us and them. That way we could actually get around the two stricken cars safely. And at this point there was quite a decent lunge from Guil ahead, and to be fair, I left him a bit too much space. I left him way too much space given how aggressive it was being up until this point. And with Guil going through, Lopez basically let himself in as well. So I lost 2 positions in one corner there, which wasn't great. I really should have closed the door more. Yeah, I guess in this lap we lost 2 positions and we gained 2 positions, so I think we're basically back in P10 at this point. And I'm curious to see exactly how we gained those 2 positions, so let's go back and check out that crash. Primitivo understeers coming out of the corner, taps Lonero, and they both end up facing the wrong way. Another driver loses their front wing here. As you can see, there was quite a lot of trouble in this lap. Let's go back to the live action in lap 3. The battle started getting heated up. Now, the man behind me is Fuentes and the gap is 1 second, but I really don't wanna fall deeper than this at this point. I really wanna try and hold on at least to the P10, so I really wanna... Oh, and there's someone out and they come back spinning into the track. Fortunately, we managed to get around without any problems. So, as I was saying, once again here, our goal is really to try and stay as close as possible to Lopez so that we can try and ditch Fuentes and Mo behind using the draft ahead. I'm trying to put as much pressure as possible on Lopez, but before I knew it, Fuentes behind, as you can see in the rear view mirror, hits the grass and ends up spinning and takes himself out of the race. So the guy chasing me now is Mo, and he is 1.5 seconds behind. This is really good for me because at this point I can actually relax from the pressure behind, as there is none, and I can try fully to focus on the guys ahead, who are now going side by side here at turn 1. They are fighting very hard, and I know that this actually helps me to stay close because they're slowing each other down a lot. And as you can see, Guil managed to actually take another position there, overtaking Bergvin. So he's pushing super hard and he's really making positions with every lap. As you can see, in fact, Guil in P6, he gained 11 positions since the beginning of this race. At this point, I decide to try and scare Lopez. I get alongside him, coming down into this fast right-hander, but I knew it wasn't gonna be an overtaking spot, but I just wanted to try and spook him a bit, but he stayed very composed, and here I almost lost my composure by almost losing the car, by carrying too much speed into that corner. And alright everyone, let's resume the live action with 8 minutes to go. We're exactly halfway through this race, we're still chasing Lopez, the gap behind is healthy, Lopez tries to make a move on Bergvin, shipping up on the inside, Bergvin gets spooked. As you can see, he ends up understeering a lot, he loses a ton of speed, even goes over into the gravel a bit. We try to pull alongside him here to try and make a move. Unfortunately, he leaves us barely enough space, which means we need to yield a little bit and tuck in behind as well. In the meantime, someone ahead is on the grass. I believe that is Lopez, and well, fortunately he manages to not lose the car and we all stay in one line. At this point I want to put as much pressure on Bergvin as possible because he's just had that little bit of a moment in turn 1. So I know that this is probably a good moment to try and scare him a little bit, but I see someone facing the wrong way ahead, and that's Lopez, and actually he ends up collecting Guil as well. That was such a close call for Theo Guil, who almost lost all the progress that he made in this race. We did manage to overtake Ricardo Lopez, who looks to be having some damage in his car. We also picked up a little bit of damage. If you look at the overlay on the bottom right, you can see that the light blue part of the car is damaged. So the light blue means that it's only light damage, dark blue means heavy damage. So the car is still perfectly drivable. We might just get a little bit of aerodynamic damage, a little bit of loss of performance, but it shouldn't be anything too significant. So we can continue without a problem, and we gained another position there, so that's really great. Alright, let's check out what happened between Guil and Lopez there. At the exit of this fast right-hander, Guil bottoms out on the curb. He enters a 360-degree spin, and unfortunately there's nowhere that Lopez behind him can go. Both of their cars end up pointing in the right direction, so they just end up continuing the race. And as you can see from my cockpit camera, the rejoin itself was a bit questionable. They almost took me out as well, but I just slammed on the brakes to slow down fully and managed to snake my way past. This was a really close call, but fortunately it all ended well. And alright everybody, let's resume the live action at the beginning of the 12th minute of this race. We still have 4 minutes to go, and for the past couple of minutes, guys, for the past couple of laps, it's actually been a bit of a stalemate. We settled in this position. Jeremy Bergvin ahead of us, about half a second ahead, and then Deckermo behind us, 2.5 seconds clear. You can see right over there, actually, someone was off. I understeered that corner, and I'm actually quite happy that I did, because if I would have kept it tight, chances are we might have collided over on the apex. Fortunately, I saw the yellow flag, and I was ready to take any sort of evasive action, but I didn't have to. So, going back to the update, we're basically just chasing Bergvin at this point, because Guil and Hippos are a bit too quick for us, and they're also having their own battle. To be fair, I'm actually quite happy with my current position in P7. We're 4 positions higher than where we started. And the most important thing at this point for me is to not lose any more positions to the drivers behind. So guys, at this point, with 2 minutes to go, we're still chasing Bergvin, and finally, just as we're coming towards the end of the race, he makes a pretty big mistake going through this corner. I have a textbook line, I then open back up to the right, I cut back in across for a late apex, and as you can see, I managed to basically close the gap from about 0.7, 0.8 tenths down to 0.2. So at this point my goal is to really try and stay as pinned and as close to him as possible, and once again, as you can see there, he gets a little bit of oversteer and I get a better exit, because now in this corner, if I get a good exit, and again look at him with the oversteer, at this point with a good exit I can get draft and I can try and overtake him. There's a lot of draft in these cars, and as you can see, I am pulling up on him like crazy, so I have major overspeed. I open up all the way to the left. I want to try and have as quick of a line through this corner as possible, and simultaneously ahead the same thing is happening, only that I actually managed to hold it around the outside and make the overtake on Bergvin, finally, after chasing him for multiple laps. And so we crossed the finish line, and it's looking like that was actually the last lap of the race. There's no white flag here on rFactor 2, which is a little bit confusing. But basically, we pulled that overtake on Bergvin as late as we could have. Any later, and we would have finished in P7, but we actually managed to clutch that P6. I am so happy with that, guys. It was clean, and it was a good performance, so I'm very happy with that. I really hope that you enjoyed that, guys. Sorry that I couldn't bring you my live reaction and my live commentary in this race. Unfortunately, I had issues with my mic, but I hope that you still enjoyed. I know I absolutely did, and as you can see, we earned a good chunk of safety rank and driver rank thanks to this result. For some reason, I cannot show you the full results, probably because of a bug with the game, but we finished 5 positions higher than where we started and gained driver rating and safety rating. Please consider leaving a like, consider subscribing, let me know your thoughts in the comments. If you like this series, guys, make sure you hit the bell notification button or join my Discord so that you don't miss an episode. And with that, it'll be all today from here at Zandvoort. I'll see you in the next one, guys. Take care.